I'm gonna let it shine.
Who is that singing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Only let it shine. Whoever it was, let it shine, let it shine, let it
I thought Dinah was getting ready to start preaching.
shine.
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
I heard
I
that.
forgot to punch.
Right.
I forgot to do mute. I'm sorry.
It's good to see and hear all of you on this evening tonight, and welcome you to the Bethel Neighbors Board of Alderman meeting. It is now 7:30, and I'll call the meeting to order. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, good evening to everyone.
Evening.
I'm starting the roll call with Alderwoman West. It's not here. Alderwoman Tapman,
Here.
Alderwoman Reed,
Present.
Alderman Carroll. Absent. Alderman Thomas,
Present.
Alderman Perry,
Present.
Alderwoman Dales.
Present.
And Mayor, I received a email from Alderwoman Avant Elliott, says she has a 3-day conference this week and will not be in attendance today.
Okay.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 present and 3 absent.
All righty. The motion to approve the agenda. Let me see it. Go right ahead and let's see who's got the hand up. Alderwoman Reed.
Hi, I would like to amend the agenda for the invoices over 500, number 15, to be just under the treasurer's report, number 7.
I didn't understand her.
Would you repeat your motion, please? Alderwoman Reed,
I send the chat.
would you repeat your, oh, it's in the chat, I'm sorry. I would like to amend the agenda to the invoice over 515 to just under the treasurer's report, number 7. Is there a second to that motion? Seeing no second, then the motion dies. Is there someone else who would make a motion to approve the agenda?
My hand is up, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Would you proceed, please?
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda. I would also like to amend it by deleting item number A under number 14.
I would like to second.
Are there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Excuse, oh, I'm sorry.
Um,
Alderwoman
it-
Dales, can you
It
please
is
put that
not
in
in
the
the
vote,
chat.
in the chat?
I'll put it in.
Thank you.
My vote is no.
Okay.
Okay, it's in there.
Okay, what you stated, please.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with an amendment to remove item B under number 14.
Is there a second? I'm sorry, I'm sure there is. Hold on 1 minute. I don't see no hand up.
I'm sorry, my hand is up. It's up now.
Yes, up now.
Okay,
Alderwoman Clinton.
I second.
Is there any further discussion?
She
Alderman
said,
Thompson.
yeah, she said item B and it should be item A.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm
Okay, I
going
got
really
it.
fast here. I'll take it. I'll just re-put it in.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Glad you caught that. Just highlight what you put
I
in.
did. I'm adding my name to it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
all right, what you stated again, please.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with an amendment to remove item A under number 14, Alderwoman Elise Dales.
I second it.
Are there any further discussion? Alderwoman Reed.
It seems that there was already a motion to remove item B, and then Tatman seconded, so we need to vote on it. And then she can make a new motion.
It was an error. I'm sorry, it was an error.
Well, we do need to move, so.
So Mayor,
It
have
was
two motions out there.
It's a motion, but it was a mistake in the first one, so I guess we can vote on it first. And
Okay. Any further discussion?
No,
Yes, Alderwoman Tatman.
no, sir. I said, no, sir. I'm ready to vote on the first motion so we can move it off the floor.
Okay. Then all in favor, vote aye. All in favor, say aye. The motion.
mm-mm.
You didn't even touch the backboard. You need to get on
What
the
happened?
backboard.
The first motion failed. That had item B in there, that one failed. So now we need to restate for item A.
Somebody like left.
Okay, I voted no for, I didn't vote aye for the first one, so I just want to clarify that since the city clerk didn't call for the roll. But I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with an amendment to remove item A under number 14, Alderwoman Elise Dales.
I second.
All right, call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Alderwoman Tatman,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed,
No,
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes,
Alderman Perry.
Yes.
Who else did I not get? I don't know who I missed.
You got everybody.
Oh, okay,
Think you missed anybody?
okay.
Do you? Did
Yeah,
you?
all yes and one no.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Public hearing, Pat Barrett.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Pat.
good evening.
This is a conditional use permit application submitted by Ms. Rosemary Whitehead. She's requested a conditional use permit to add an online auto sales business to the businesses already operating at 1000 St. Cyr Road. That's in a C2 commercial business district. She owns and operates Sun Valley Adult Care at that address, along with Delrose Place as a banquet center. And a church ministry also rents space and holds services there twice a week. The online auto sales would be a fourth use at the location and would be run by her daughter and her son. The proposed business would be auto sales by appointment only, 4 to 6 hours per day, Tuesday through Saturday. No servicing or prep of automobiles would take place there. A maximum of 3 cars for sale would be parked in the northeast corner of the parking lot in designated spots, plus 1 spot for customer parking. The Missouri Department of Revenue requires the sales office be located on the same lot as the cars for sale, and for them to display a sign on their facility with their business name, S&J Online Auto Sales, in letters 6-inch minimum height, which are smaller than the letters on their existing signs.
I'm in the board meeting. I'll call you tomorrow.
The city engineer, the building inspector, and I visited the site to see where the sales office for the business would be located, its fire rating, and proximity to restrooms. All were in proper order. Ms. Whitehead is a longtime business owner in good standing with the city. The commission is recommending the board grant Ms. Whitehead a conditional use permit after a public hearing to operate this business, online auto sales, in accordance with the following conditions. Auto sales will be made by appointment only. No more than 3 cars on the premises for sale at any one time. No automotive repair, service, or prep would be performed at the location. Signage required by other authorities having jurisdiction would be minimal in size. The emphasis would remain on the businesses already operating at the site. And finally, any email address used for the business shall be worded in a way as to not give away the physical address, to avoid having interested parties visit the site after hours or on weekends. For example, email addresses similar to autosales@sunvalleyadultcare.org or S&J online at 1000 St. Cyr Road.com should not be used. We are recommending the board hold a public hearing for conditional use permit for S&J online auto sales based on those conditions.
Board of Alderman, you've heard the recommendation of the planning and zoning. Do you have any questions? Is there a motion to accept the recommendation?
Were there any citizens that wanted to comment, Mayor?
That's right. This is a time for, if citizens want to comment on it, they can at this time.
If I could interject, usually isn't that reserved for the public hearing?
I beg your pardon, is it reserved for the public hearing?
I believe that it is, sir.
Oh, okay. When is the public hearing?
That there's a 15-day minimum period. There's letters that are sent out to all neighbors within 185 feet. There's a notice that's posted in a public newspaper. So depending on how many days until our next meeting, it may be a month from now before the public hearing can actually take place for those events to occur.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. I make them.
Tonight, we don't require any motion from the board tonight. Right.
Only to agree to a hearing or not.
So the board at this time will decide whether or not there will be a hearing and whatever time that the planning and zoning set. So this is the vote here to proceed with the hearing. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't hear you.
This is a vote to proceed with the hearing from the board. For you to proceed with the public hearing.
Well, again, there's a notification period where letters have to go out to neighbors. So this would just be to agree to schedule a public hearing after that notification period has taken.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
May I ask, Mr. Barrett, the notice went out, Mr. Barrett, and it
Oh.
was published in the paper. And then it was published for the 4th, and
You're
then
right.
you canceled it and sent it to the 18th. So
I've
we
got-
sent the notice out to the surrounding houses to say that the public hearing was tonight. So I thought that this was the public hearing.
You are correct. I got my conditional use permits mixed up. We have another one that's out. My apologies.
Okay. So,
Mayor, can I ask Fran to please mute
No, I'm trying
everyone
to
that's on the
find
call?
who it is, and it's not showing up where that's coming from.
Can you mute everyone except the board members?
Excuse me. Let me proceed with this. Let us, if the public hearing has taken place, notices have been sent out. Tonight's meeting is to approve the Board of Planning and Zoning's request, right?
Correct. And I apologize because there's another conditional use permit that's coming down the pipe that I mixed this up with. Right.
So I see 3 hands up. One is Alderman Chapman.
I'm sorry, I didn't have any questions.
Alderman Thomas' hand is up.
yes, sir. So we do need, so if this is the public hearing, then we need to have comments from the public concerning the public hearing, concerning the business.
Yes.
request. Right.
Alderman Dales, I see your hand up.
Mayor, I was just gonna ask if you would ask any citizen if they had a comment, and if they didn't, I would like to make the motion for the business.
Are there any comments from the citizens? You, speak now, please.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So this is my first board meeting. I'm not sure how you conduct everything. So the questions that you're asking for us right now is to a specific topic, or is this open for any general concerns that the public may have?
This is for this specific topic. I'll give you
Okay, I'll
generally.
wait. I can wait until you, do you open up for general topics anytime during our?
I will in a few minutes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Anyone else from the public on this topic? Then Alderwoman Dales, your hand is up. Proceed.
I would like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for the, I want to read it correctly. Conditional use permit for to operate in a limited online auto sales for the property at 1000 St. Cyr Road.
Alderman Thomas.
I second.
Are there any further discussion?
You typing it in the chat?
And
Okay.
Alderwoman Reed.
Normally, we have a public hearing, and then later, under new business, we will have a bill for this conditional use. It is not done by just a simple motion. But okay.
Is that how you guys have been doing it? How have you been doing it?
that's correct, Mayor. That is correct. Normally, our city clerk would have put that in the agenda. That's normally the duties of the city clerk when we know that we're having a public hearing. She should have prepared a ordinance for that. But we can continue to vote on it and have the city clerk draw up the ordinance agreement, and we can re-vote on it again. But we can take the votes tonight, and she can have it in there.
City attorney draw up the ordinance. I don't draw up ordinances.
No, what you would do, you would send the information to the city, to the attorney, and she would create the
Well,
ordinance.
that's what I say, the city attorney would draw up the ordinance.
Okay, I still see 3 hands up. Alderwoman Reed, your hand is up.
Those past statements just now were untrue. Pat Barrett, the chairman, whomever there is of planning and zoning, has direct contact with the city attorney, and he or she in that role would direct
Nikki, I'm
the
on
city
board
attorney.
meeting. You want the thing?
No, you need to mute yourself, Alderwoman Dales.
Oops.
He
All
or
right.
she then will direct the city attorney to draft up an ordinance. Our city clerk does not draft up ordinances, Mayor, and we have had more than one conditional use bill drafted in the last 5 years and in the last couple years of most of us being here.
City Attorney, are you present?
Yes, Mayor, I am here.
Please.
Hello?
Yes, would you clarify?
Typically, the city attorney prepares ordinances. So at this point, what I will do is get the information from Pat and prepare an ordinance for the next meeting.
Okay. And that's all we will need, right, is the ordinance for this conditional use permit?
Yes, Mayor, but you can vote on it tonight.
We can vote on it tonight.
Yes,
Okay, then. Thank you.
you're welcome.
So we have a motion and a second. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we do.
And are there any further discussion?
I have a question, Mayor.
Go right ahead.
Because since I've been on this board, which is 3 years, I have never voted on a bill that I have not seen yet, an ordinance. So how are we going to vote on an ordinance that doesn't have a number? I don't believe that's
What the board would be voting on is to accept the recommendation of the Zoning and Planning Committee.
Okay.
Again, I wanted to state, if we have historically always had a bill, ordinance that we're approving with a number and documents that we can read ourselves, why then will we veer from that tonight? Because unfortunately, someone dropped the ball here. If we were having a public hearing tonight, then we would have had an ordinance already built out. So someone dropped the ball. I'm not pointing any fingers, whomever, but
the fault lies with me. I apologize.
so I don't believe it's proper for us, even though the city attorney saying it's okay to vote on an ordinance without an ordinance in hand. That's kind of odd.
Alderwoman Reed, what I just said is that the vote would be to accept the recommendation of the Zoning and Planning Committee. The board would then vote on the ordinance at the next meeting.
Well,
So you're just accepting the recommendation. The Zoning and Planning Committee can only recommend.
Well, didn't we already accept that when we agreed to have the public hearing? That's what we did. We accepted it and we approved. Okay. Because why would we have a public hearing if we didn't accept it? No, we wouldn't have wasted our time to have a public hearing.
Okay. The public hearing is on the application to see whether or not anyone has any concerns or want to voice anything about the application that's pending. The Zoning and Planning Committee has brought it to the board. It's their recommendation that it be approved, but the board has to approve it. And you can't do it in the form of an ordinance.
And I remember being here when Pat already gave us his recommendations, and then we motioned to have a public hearing on March the 4th. Now, I wasn't here when it got changed to the 18th, but we already approved his recommendation. Is that not what you remember, Pat? That we actually approved your recommendations, and that's why we had a public hearing? Yay, no.
Pat,
Yes, sir.
I think that question was posed to you.
Could you restate the question, please? I'm not sure I heard it completely.
So do you not remember coming to the board already and giving your recommendations for this application? And we approved it by setting a date for a public hearing. We never set a public hearing date unless you all give a recommendation for it.
Yeah, I'm sure
Correct?
that's the case.
Right. We never have a public hearing for something that we're not going to approve later, that we haven't already approved. So all we need is the ordinance.
I would like to ask the city clerk if this matter has been before the board before.
Yes, Pat Barrett brought it before the board for approval for the public hearing in February or the end of January. And it was first set for a public hearing on the 4th of March, but everything wasn't ready. So he canceled it. He contacted you and asked you, city attorney, if he could cancel it and bring it back on the 18th. And responded yes. So he sent me the paperwork to send out to cancel it for the 4th and bring it back on the 18th, which is tonight.
I agree with that. There has not been a vote on it, though.
A vote, okay.
Alderwoman, let's see, Alderwoman Dales. You need to unmute yourself.
I was just going to state what our attorney just spoke of. It was canceled. We never voted on it. We brought it back for today to have the public hearing and for the board to accept the conditional use permit. And we can vote on it. It's basically the same thing that's in the chat, and we can make a vote today
Alderwoman.
Based on what the attorney states.
Alderwoman.
I would like to acquiesce to our legal counsel who said the vote that we place tonight will be to accept the recommendation of our chair of public zoning. That's what our legal counsel said. We are accepting the recommendation. Then for the ordinance and bill to be written up for us to approve that ordinance, give others an opportunity, members of the board, to look at our next meeting. Our legal counsel has given us guidance. So I would acquiesce to our legal counsel who said we are voting to accept the recommendation
Isn't that
of our chair.
Isn't that what that's what we had asked for?
Yes,
to
sir.
accept the recommendation of the chair of the planning and zoning. Was that right? So that was that the motion that was put on the floor?
Yeah.
Then so all in favor, call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Mayor, I'm sorry. If you read what's in the chat, it says to approve the conditional use permit. Yeah, that's approving the permit. If you read that.
Alderwoman Dale, could you change the verbiage, please?
Yeah, change
I
that.
will. I can.
Thank you.
And put in there, approve the recommendation of planning and zoning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Johnson, everything okay?
It's in,
Okay, Madam Attorney, will you read that? Is that the correct wording?
Um, Mayor, it should say to approve the recommendation of the zoning and planning.
okay, I'll
Committee
change it again.
to grant the conditional use permit.
Okay, a moment. Is that sufficient, Attorney White?
Yes, Alderwoman Deals, that's fine.
Thank you.
All right, now where are we? Do we have a motion on the floor with the other wording? Do we have to change the motion now?
Yes, we do. We have to change the motion. Yes, sir.
All right, do we have to rescind the other motion or, I mean, we never voted. Did we get a second or anything? Did we vote? No, we didn't vote.
We didn't vote. Dale's made the motion and Alderman Thomas seconded.
I can rescind my second.
And I would like to rescind my motion to approve the recommendation of the conditional use permit for Sun Valley Daycare Center to operate a limited online auto sales at 1000 St. Cyr Road.
Is there a second, Alderman Thomas? Your hand's up. I need a second.
Well, no, I think she was rescinding that. She hasn't read the current motion.
Can you just read the current motion, Alderman Davis?
I can. I would like to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to grant the conditional use permit for the Sun Valley Adult Daycare Center to operate a limited online auto sales at 1000 St. Cyr Road.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes,
Alderwoman Reed, Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderman Perry,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
4 yes and 1 no answer, Mayor.
All righty. Approval of unapproved minutes.
Mayor, can you state for the record that it did pass for the,
Yeah, the motion passes.
thank you.
All right. Presentation unapproved minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not looking at this chat here. I know somebody got their hand up, don't they? All right, how come I don't see no hands up? It's approval of unapproved minutes 3/4/2021. I need a motion.
you got one, Mayor.
Okay, Alderman Thomas.
I motion to accept the unapproved minutes, regular Board of Alderman meeting on 3/4/2021.
I second.
All right. Any further discussion? Call a roll.
Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed,
Yes.
Alderman Perry.
Yes.
Oh, yes, Mayor.
All righty. Now the meeting will be turned over to the public. And so those of you who have general comments, you may now present them. You can go now.
Hello. Okay. So I have a couple of questions. It's more than me in a car, and I'm speaking for another party. One of the other community
Excuse
members
me,
wanted to know. I know you guys are
Excuse me, before you continue, would the city clerk ask for the information, please?
I'm sorry. Let me preside, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Right, thank you. All right, proceed.
Okay, so one of the other community members wanted to know, in addition to the speed bumps that I know you guys are proposing, they were wondering about actually fixing the streets. You know, like how there's potholes and things like that in certain streets. The streets not being together. That's one thing that's addressed. And two, I'm not sure how appropriate this is for this board, or if this is something that you all can kind of work on. But so there's an issue here in Missouri with family courts and children's division here. If anybody takes the time to do the research, and if you don't want to do the research, I can submit to whomever wants to know about it the research I've done. But here they are taking children for profit. And when I say take children for profit, I mean the Title IV that they have in effect allows them to take children, get a certain amount for the children, and the money goes into general funding. It doesn't have to go back into the children. And one of the requirements of this Title IV is that the children aren't allowed to come home to the families. So it's been a lot of families here that have been hurt and injured due to the negligence of children's division, snatching children without following the proper protocols, policies, procedures, statutes, laws, or any of those things. So it's kind of colorable. People don't know about it too much because the manner that it's happening, but it's very prevalent amongst the state of Missouri and other states. So is that something that can be presented before the board, and something that you can assist the community with, get involved with, get inform the community, aware people?
All right. You have that information, which you provide us with that information so we can, read up on it and know how to properly address it. And I'm sorry, would you state your name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Saraga Barr, and my address is P.O. Box 38056, 11001 Dunkland Drive. That's St. Louis, Missouri, near around 63138.
Okay. So, all right, present that to City Hall, to the clerk, so that we can look at it.
Okay, so just mail in the.
Yeah, you can mail it in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? And I'm sorry, but I forgot to tell her 3 minutes, please. So, I let it go because that was my fault. All right, anyone else from the public who would like to speak?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Hello.
I am just inquiring about the trees. I have a tree that's the neighbors, which is he's a renter. And I have been trying to get some information on how to go about getting it cut back from my roof. I had my roof done last year, and I just can't sit out on my deck. I can't enjoy my backyard, and just wondering, how does that work?
I'm not sure. We'd have to discuss that. Some private property, we can't go on private property and cut trees, but there ought to be some way we can work with the landlord uh, and get that done. But what you,
Okay, because I'm just trying to, if I can just get it trimmed back, from my roof, I mean, that would help.
if you just send us that information and let us figure out how to help you.
Yeah, I sent the information several times and haven't heard a response, but I can send it again.
But you, because I've not seen it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And you
Mr.
might want
Chair,
to, you can address that to me if you like. Address it to the mayor.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Yes, sir, Mayor. This is Wanda Lane calling. Speaking. I have two questions. When an older person, an elected official is not present, do they have to give a reason why they're not attending the meeting? And do they have to advise City Hall that they're not attending the meeting? Because this is beginning to be a pattern with some of our elected officials. I know I read that Alderwoman West, she made a post today that someone sent to me, and she, at the end of the post, said that her back was hurting. So that's one thing. But Alderman Carroll was on a public court hearing via Zoom yesterday afternoon. He looked healthy to me. He was on a computer in his office. So I'm just curious, does the elected official have to give a reason why they're not attending these meetings?
Okay, I don't know if they have to give a reason, but they have to, there ought to be, I think that's something that you can only miss so many meetings before some action can be taken. We'd have to have the city attorney look at that and see what the legal ramifications are around it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, this is Anthony Green on Waldorf Drive. I'm just going to really second what Wanda said. My concern is not so much of the attendance, but also if you can educate me, do we have a policy one on social media? I just want to make sure, are the aldermen and aldermen aware, when they go onto Nextdoor and make comments, are they allegedly making these comments as citizens and not elected officials? Because some of the comments I've seen made to people and to myself are very worrisome, very unprofessional, very inflammatory, to say the least. I have, read some of them, and apparently my discussion, I think when I played the tape back, I used the term health issues for one of our alder people. On February 19th on Nextdoor, our friend and colleague, James Carroll, Alderman Carroll, fully disclosed a lot of information about another alder person on social media. I just want that to be on the record that happened well before I used any semantics of that on Nextdoor. And I have a copy of it. I'll be more than happy to share it with any of the alder people who don't have a copy. I want them to see what was disclosed about that, because she seemed to be somewhat upset with me for using the term health issue. But I want to be clear again, my language, that Alderman James Carroll fully disclosed the nature of any health issue and a lot more detail, as well as her age and other stuff, on Nextdoor before it was removed, for whatever reason. I want that on record. It was done on or about February 19th before my discussion of using that term on March the 4th. So there's a lot of issues here. And unfortunately, for the third meeting that I'm aware of, West and Alderman Carroll are not on the dais as far as voting. I don't know if they're in the meeting or not, but they're not on the dais. And so I would love to hear, why this if Alderman West considers this information confidential or private, why was Alderman Carroll disclosing all of this information on Nextdoor? Because again, I have copies of it. I want him to, be able to speak on that. And if it's a problem, he needs to publicly apologize to Alderman West for putting her quote unquote business in the streets on February 19th. So that's really my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else from the public? All right, we'll bring the meeting back to the board, and we will move to planning and zoning. Okay. I'm sorry. Just hold up. We'll move to the treasurer's report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I won't be before you long. So we did miss a couple meetings, but I did want to point out a couple things that took place, the major things that took place. Specifically, the annual audit was filed with the State Audit Department at the end of December. The annual report was filed and completed at the end of January. At the beginning of February, the city received the remaining 50% of the CARES Act funds, which was roughly $337,000. We had been waiting on that for a couple months, so we received the final payment at the beginning of February. In addition to that, from a revenue perspective, annual sales tax revenue is trending above budget. Some of the in-person revenue activity is still below budget as expected due to COVID, but overall, the current annualized revenue is trending above budget due to the receipt of the CARES Act funds. From an expense perspective on the general fund, and you all will see this in the treasurer's report, all departments are operating at or below the total budget for from a year-to-date perspective. Just as revenue for in-person activity, so is expenses from in-person related services. They're also lower than what was previously budgeted based on COVID as well. From a capital fund perspective, the rec center is below budget, but the finance team, the mayor, myself, and department heads have currently been meeting to discuss the 21-22 budget. In addition to that, the remaining capital expenses related to the rec center, which was the pool and roof estimates. So some of those things will be occurring a little closer to the end of the fiscal year. In addition to that, the debt fund is has completely been expensed and paid. All the expenses related to the debt fund for the fiscal year have been paid. So there are no outstanding debt payments to be made from that specific fund. In conclusion, overall, the city has a solid liquidity to cover all short-term obligations and those due within the fiscal year. The city currently has $4 million in funds in total that's managed by myself, the mayor, and the city clerk. Lastly, I did want to mention again that myself, the mayor, and all department heads have been meeting regularly because the goal is to have a completed budget presented to the board within the next month or so that we can have some approval completed well before the fiscal year end, because that was a previous audit finding. So we're trying to make sure we don't have that same type of situation come up this year. So with that being said, that will conclude my report.
Thank you. Alderwoman Dales.
Hi, Patrick. I asked the building department what line item for when individuals send in their fee, their semi-annual fee of $200 for vacant houses, and they didn't know. So can you either create a line item for me, or can you, send me an email later on and let me know what line item that is coming in if we have any funds coming in for vacant properties?
Yeah, you can, if you can send me an email.
Okay.
I know we've been having email issues, but if you can send me an email asking me that specific question, I'll make sure we include that when we are discussing the budget for
Okay.
2021-22, just in case, so that we don't miss it.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Alderwoman Reed.
Yeah, Mayor, I am not feeling that well, so I'm going to get off now. Thank you.
I didn't understand. I don't know what other than get on there. All righty. All righty. Any other questions for the treasurer? If not, we will proceed. Planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning held their regular meeting on Monday, March 8th. The major subject that evening was a proposal by North County Fire and Rescue, formerly Riverview Fire District, to construct a new firehouse on a portion of the former Knights of Columbus property that is now owned by Santa Cruz Building Association at 800 Chambers Road. The property would be subdivided with the firehouse occupying about 2.6 acres on the west side. The fire district explained their plans. Members of the commission asked questions, and members of the audience spoke. The meeting was informational only, with questions and answers. No votes were taken. More information is being sought, and we expect the subject to be on next month's planning and zoning April agenda. And that is my report.
All right, thank you. Any questions? If not, we will move to building inspector.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I have numbers for both January and February. Both occupancy inspections have been staying pretty steady. Been very busy on both of those. Here recently, we've also had several sewer laterals again here recently. I think I have 3 at the moment going on. So been staying busy with our general work. Also on top of that, we've about to get Gateway Market finished up. They have to have St. Louis County Health Department sign off on the kitchen installation there. And once that's done, I believe the city engineer can sign off on the building occupancy permit. Hopefully they'll be getting started here before long. It'll be wanting to open up before long. Getting springtime here, we will be going around and starting on grass and dead trees here soon. Tina Bell had a question about trimming trees. Quick answer, you can trim anything that hangs over your property line. So anything over your house, you have the right to trim. We've also sent out a bunch of letters, well over 300 letters about algae on houses here this spring too. So those should be hopefully getting cleaned up here as the weather turns better. And other than that, that's about all I have to report on tonight.
Any questions? Alderman Dales, your hands up. And you're muted.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have the report in front of me, and if I'm not sure, do we charge for re-inspections?
One re-inspection is included with your initial fee. So no, we don't charge for re-inspections unless it's an issue. We have a third trip fee that we'll charge if it's an issue.
Okay,
But
because
one-
what I'll do, I'll call you tomorrow, because based on the inspections that I'm looking at for residential re-inspections, it's not showing that we're charging any fees in the permits. So I'll just call you tomorrow about that.
Okay.
And also, again, they called about the trailer with, someone called the health department, and
Yes.
we want to make sure that maybe the prosecutor or someone, we have an issue over here in Ward 4 that is happening too. So can you
Yeah.
please, see if we can get this moved as soon as possible?
Yeah, and hopefully maybe the chief can address that a little bit too. Yeah, I would like to get both of those issues moving. They need to be resolved.
Hopefully he's listening now, so hopefully he'll bring it up. Thank you.
All righty. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mayor, I had a question. Hey, Joe.
Mhm.
The house on Ashbrook that they had the fire, has
Right.
we got any progress on that? I know you've been working on it.
Yeah, I've actually talked with him several times on the phone up until here, I guess about 3 weeks ago is the last time we've conversed. He seemed to have some miscommunications problems with his guys and was all about having it remedied. However, I've not been able to get in touch with him any further. We've sent him second notices. He is going to court over it now. I kind of thought by his attitude that, he was going to help us get that cleaned up, but that's not how it turned out. And so I think he'll be going to court over it. But I have no resolution for it unless we can go clean it up and put a lien on the property or take him to court.
That's what I was going to ask, because I mean, it's been almost, was it Christmas?
Yeah, I believe it's just after.
Yeah, and I think that we need to do something about that, because as it gets warmer, the rodents, the raccoons gonna be looking for someplace else to stay and everything else. So,
And, he's, been cited for the board ups, the painting of the board ups, as well as the cleanup and securing of the garage. But unfortunately, I haven't had any resolve on that. I will put it on my list again and make another attempt at another call. Like I said, I haven't been able to make any contact with by phone here recently, and by letter is the only thing we've had, and so that's been taking him to court.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments directed to the building inspector? Seeing no hands up. City engineers report.
Good evening, Mayor, everyone. You have my report that Judy produces in front of you. And a couple things, MSD work on Coburg is continuing. They should be finishing probably within the next 30 to 45 days, depending on weather. We'll make sure that they get things cleaned up. They are also going to be starting another project on Rayford Court within the next probably 30 days. They've sent letters out to the property owners along there. It's basically they're doing what they did at Coburg, only not as big. They're disconnecting the sanitary lines that also handle the stormwater. Basically, it's going to be the first half of the street of Rayford Court. So that'll be continuing. Want to give you an update on the trusses in the rec center. The engineers have issued a report in there. 8 of the 9 trusses are bad. Their recommendation is to replace them. And there's different ways of going about it, whether we sister in some structure alongside of it, or another option would be, since we're going to have to redo the roof, look at basically peeling off the roof, removing the trusses and setting new trusses in where the old ones are. I'll be reviewing that some more with Jimmy and also with the engineers, and try and get some type of recommendation to the alderwomen to see how we should go and proceed. Are there, and I know right now that the half the gym, Jimmy's been, we've roped off to keep people off and they only use half of it. So that's my report.
Any questions? Seeing none, I don't think I see any.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your report. Chief of Police.
No, thank you, Mayor. In terms of crime, we've seen an uptick in assaults for February. I was glad to see a major decrease in larceny and motor vehicle theft. I'm always talking about motor vehicle theft, and it's the lowest it's been in a while. Otherwise, we have been making every effort to tackle derelict and abandoned vehicles as much as we can. With the warmer weather, we'll be able to get more done. The first round of barriers have been put in down in Ward 4. The project is not complete. Just the first stage is done. I had a meeting with the director of the Real-Time Crime Intelligence Center for St. Louis County about installing cameras and LPR systems. I got an opportunity to see their full plan, and they do have a phase plan where they're installing a lot of cameras and LPRs in the North County area. They would like for us to install a set in the Bell Fountain Chambers intersection. I believe the plan for right now is for them to come out and do a site visit next week to see exactly how many LPRs we need. Cameras are easy. LPRs, one unit only covers 2 lanes. And there are 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lanes up there. So we're going to need to decide how many would be covered and which ones. The project wouldn't be cheap, but to keep it affordable and effective and efficient, I would think the costs would be, I'm going on the upper end, maybe $15,000 based on our discussion. I want to let everyone know that last couple of days, we've had email problems. We did not publicize our issue. We are now at the stage where I can kind of discuss it. There was an attempted ransomware cyber attack on our servers. We had to disconnect the mail server and a few other systems and shut them down and bring techs in to basically clean up the aftermath. The good thing is that our cyber software that keeps out ransomware, malware, viruses, Trojans, and so on and so forth is top-notch and high quality. There was no permanent damage done. However, there is still some work to do to reverse some of the things that had happened. It wasn't advertised because it is common for cyber attacks to happen in second and thirds. So we really didn't want anybody to know except for the people, the employees, and the elected officials. And that concludes my report unless anybody has any questions.
All right, is that the end?
Yes, sir.
All righty then, thank you. Any questions to the chief? Alderwoman Dales. You're muted, my dear.
I just want you to explain, because we do have citizens on that call me about the trailers that's sitting at the homes. So if you can explain why they are still there and the process we're going through.
Okay, you're gonna. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to. I know you talked about it a little bit ago.
The trailer that's on McCarthy. Yeah.
McCartney. Okay. The city attorney and I started a process on administrative warrants involving the judge. I know, if I remember correctly, and the city attorney can correct me, it will. I believe the information has been sent to the judge. I don't think the judge has gotten back to us yet on that information. City attorney, if you want to chime in, I haven't heard anything else on that subject as of late.
Chief, I have not heard anything either.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll make sure I'll follow up on that again. Now, mind you, this process is mainly controlled by the judge if you read the ordinance. The city attorney and I are putting together the information to help facilitate the process faster. But at the end of the day, it's upon the judge to make certain decisions and put the actual process in place that we can use it. For us to be able to enter upon private property and make modifications and remove stuff, that ordinance that we have is aimed at things like health and sanitation and property maintenance and certain issues should they not be corrected, or there are issues that the government has to step in and take control. That's what that ordinance is for. But without the legal authority, we just can't go on private property and start removing things.
Thank you very much, Chief. I just wanted the citizens to hear instead of coming from me. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'll be square with you. I've been pushing this for a while because I want the ability to resolve the problems that people complain about. Derelict cars, the high grass, the other issues that some of our residents aren't taking care of, we take care of for them. And then there's they end up going to court. There would be a recoupment of fees and so on and so forth. But I'm trying to get to the point where people don't have to live with the eyesores they have to do now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Alderwoman Dales and I came across this information at about the same time, and we've discussed it. So she might want to chime in at some point during this discussion as well. In the first session of the 101st General Assembly, both the Senate and the House passed what is known as the Wayfair Bill. This bill allows municipalities to collect a use tax on retailers that do not have a physical presence in the state. The bill requires, however, that a municipality with an existing local use tax go back to the voters to seek approval in order to collect this tax. It is my understanding, and I verified with the Missouri Department of Revenue, that Bell Fountain Neighbors does indeed have a local use tax. That being the case, in order to take advantage of this legislation, the city would have to go to the voters to seek approval to collect this tax. It would be my recommendation that the board discuss this and look at putting this on the ballot in November. I have nothing further on it. Alderwoman Dales?
Yes, I raised my hand. May I, Mayor?
Yes, you may.
And I'm sure most of my colleagues received this through the Municipal League. At one point, years back, and I cannot go back to what the language was, but we did have a proposition on the ballot, and one of the individuals who's on the board, who just recently got on the board, put out a bunch of signs asking that the people not support it. However, once we talk about what this legislation would do for our community, we can be able to inform our neighbors and educate them more about what this would do for our city. I think it's something that we should do. all the municipalities around us or putting this on the ballot. They have something on the ballot this April. They're asking for their citizens to approve that Wayfair tax. So it's a win-win for everyone around, but we just need to educate ourselves on it, what it does, and educate our citizens so they'll be well informed if we can get it on the ballot for November of 2021.
All right, Alderman Patton.
Yes, Attorney White Coleman, could you just give us a small synopsis on the benefits of this tax and who would be taxed or who can be taxed? Just to give the citizens just a little bit more information about that.
Yes, I can't estimate what the city might be able to collect in taxes pursuant to this legislation. However, the city would be able to capture taxes from any retailer that does not have a physical presence in the state, but is doing business here. So that's why it's called the Wayfair bill, because Wayfair does a lot of business here. And there are a lot of other online retailers who do business here as well. That would be revenue that the city currently is not receiving, that it would be able to capture and use in its general fund.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, thank you, City Attorney, for your report. We'll move down to unfinished business. Alderwoman Tatman.
Yes, good evening, everyone. As some of you know, and some may not know, we created the Innovative Public Safety Crime Prevention Summit on last year. The summit was created to address the immediate safety and crime issues that the citizens were concerned about. Last year, we had a successful event. This year, we wanted to concentrate on neighborhood safety and traffic enforcement. And to that point, our city engineer, Clayton Klein, and our chief have been working tirelessly with me to try to get proper data and analysis and information on speed humps or speed bumps that could potentially be one of the traffic enforcement mechanisms that we use, as well as enhancing our street lighting. What I've done, I've asked also Mayor Reggie Jones from Dalewood. They have placed speed humps down. I've asked him to be present to help disseminate the information that we might have. But I want to acquiesce to our city engineer to share with us the possibilities, the pros and the cons. I sent information out to the board on March 1st, and I sent it out again 2 days ago. And that was just for us to start this conversation so the citizens can hear and see and have input on what we're doing. The next summit is scheduled for Saturday, October the 2nd from 10 till 2. And it'll be on our parking lot and using part of our rec center like we did last year. So Mr. Klein, could you start off and share the information that we have acquired? And then I would like after that for Mayor Jones, if you would share the benefits that has helped in the city of Dalewood for us. And then the chief at the end will give the statistical data and some other information.
You ready for me, Alderman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What we are looking at, as Alderwoman Tatman said, is speed humps, not bumps. Bumps are the ones where, I mean, you run over it at any speed, you're going to feel it. A hump is designed so that if you drive the speed limit you will not feel it. If you go over it, you're going to feel it. There are some municipalities who have done very expensive ones. Basically, they are made of asphalt, and they're anywhere from 9 to 12 feet long by the whole width of the road. And so it's engineered so that way there's a hump and you don't feel it. They are marked, striping on it so you can see it, and there's also signage that's put up. One company did it for Belnor and also Greendale is out of business. But from what I could tell from some costs that I got, you're probably looking for each hump probably in the neighborhood of $5,000-$6,000. Just because what you have to do, wherever you find it, you're going to remove 2 inches. Usually our streets in Bellefonte Neighbors are concrete, and over the years they've been overlaid with 2 to 3 inches of asphalt. So basically you're going to take off that asphalt on top and then come in with the new asphalt so it butts up so there's no lip, and then it's raised up for the proper height to allow for the speed hump. Another possibility, which some other municipalities are doing, it's definitely less expensive. It's a pre-manufactured hump made out of basically it's rubber. And the one that I was looking at that our sister city next to us, Delwood, has used, it's a speed hump, and they're about 24 to 30 inches wide. And the only problem is when I called that supplier, the maximum width is 19.5 feet. Well, most of our streets in the city are 24 to 26 feet wide. But the cost that I'm getting on that, just for to have the pre-manufactured rubber hump sent to us with attachments, is roughly going to be about $275. We would then have to either have our city street crew install, or we contract with an outside contractor to install them. I did talk with, and I forgot the gentleman's name at Delwood. Pardon me? Quincy, yeah. And he was very helpful. He said that their crew started setting them in, but then they had some people who left, and they just didn't have the time, and they contracted it out. He wasn't quite sure how much was spent, but he thought maybe it might have been $500 for each one to have it installed. But then also realize, just like when you have the asphalt ones, you'll have to have painting done on them and signs. So there's cost to that. But you're looking at, maybe $1,000 versus $500, roughly. I'm not quite comfortable with the number I got on that asphalt one. As we talk, and I don't want to step out of line, and I was talking with Chief Eiler, maybe we do a test program where we do, because the asphalt one, you won't feel it. If you're living in drive over every day, you drive the speed limit, you won't feel it. It won't do anything to your car. But on the one that's pre-manufactured, there's going to be a lip. There's just no way of getting around it. So you're going to feel that. And over time, does that do any wear and tear in your car? But maybe we could do a test for 1 year where we get a couple of the pre-made ones, put them in a location that Chief has identified as a problem area for speeding, and maybe also then do one with the asphalt ones, just to see also how that works. I'll put on my architect hat. From a aesthetic standpoint, the asphalt ones are much nicer, but that's just me being that. So that's what I have to report. If there are any questions, I can answer them or see what I can do to find out more stuff for you.
All righty, thank you for your report. Seeing no other questions. Thank you so much. We'll move on to We'll move
Mayor,
on.
Mayor, Mayor Jones came in, and I know Alderwoman Tapman had invited him, and I think he might have a comment on.
Thank you. I see him and I had in mind recognizing him, but I don't know, somehow I put it in high gear and was moving toward the end of this meeting. But I'm always a joy to have Mayor Jones of Delwood with me anywhere, especially in this meeting. One of the things that I'm going to talk about, and I wrote this city down in my report, that when we come to the speeding and speed bumps, speed humps, blocking streets, I don't think Bell Fountain neighbors can do that by itself. I think we need to give a neighboring cities to stop them from speeding in my city, and they flying through other cities. You just shift the problem. So, but anyway, Mayor Jones has done an excellent job in Delwood, and he's been my friend for a good while, and so we'll work together to do whatever we can. But I do want him to say hello to us as one of our neighbors.
Hello, Mayor, Board of Aldermen, guests, city officials. It's a pleasure being here. I don't want to crash your meeting too long, but I'm just here as the advocate of speed humps. About 4 years ago in Delwood, we started a program where every year we concentrated on certain streets to install speed humps, and they've been a very big success over here. Residents are very extremely happy with them. Speeding is slowing down tremendously. That's not going to be 100%. Nothing's going to be 100%, but it definitely has had a big effect on speeding. You can just ask my residents. They are, you don't have to ask me. I've seen some residents even comment on next door. They were very pleased. They said they were very pleased with the speed humps in Delwood. So we concentrated on those streets that were main thoroughfare streets, and it's been a great success. I mean, speeding is not relegated just to Delwood. It's all over North County, city, everywhere. So it's an issue that we're all dealing with. But we know we can't afford to put a police officer in every corner to watch for speeding. And so to me, in my opinion, the most effective way to do it, especially as it comes to cost, are speed humps. And I did look at the concrete, the asphalt ones. They're very expensive. Those are ideal, but they're very expensive. So we did take the more economical route that we can get the most bang for our buck. And we were able to stretch that out through various parts of the city, and it's been a very success. So if it was me, I would definitely suggest that the trial period sounds like a good idea. These are prefabricated. You order them. Your public works department can put them in. We did do that at first, and then we did switch to a contracting company to kind of help, but it can be either or. You can save money by your public works putting them in if you need to save money that way too. So I'm just here as an advocate for that, and I think it'd be great for your city and great for your residents.
Thank you very much. Anyone have a quick question, short question for Mayor Jones? Alderwoman Tapman.
No, I want to thank Mayor Jones for coming, and if you would allow me, Mayor, just maybe about 2 or 3 more minutes for the chief. He has some statistical data. If that's okay, just so the citizens know, have full information. If you want us to wait till the next meeting, we can, but I was just hoping that we're giving all the vital information now, and that would help the board that's present as well as the citizens to know that we've been working on this for 9 months. And we wanted to share as much information if you would allow the chief maybe like 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Chief can do it quick if you would.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not going to take up 5 minutes. I promise you that.
I know.
But I do appreciate the words of Mayor Jones, really, because it just shows that different types of traffic calming devices do have an impact. He's absolutely correct. They are not 100%. but we're using a variety of things. The concrete barriers, for example, where they are appropriately placed. The City of St. Louis Street Department, when they were there, we were putting in the barriers. They call them the concrete police. That's what they call those barriers. And I laughed because I mean they're actually dead on. They do the work of the police. The speed humps or the speed bumps. There are pros and cons to both. Running a pilot test for a certain period of time absolutely would be necessary. And it's going to be more on the feedback end from our residents, because my intention or my input would be to pilot test them on long stretches of city streets. And there are a few within the city that we could do a pilot project on. You're going to find that the people that live in those specific areas are going to be the first to give you feedback on whether they like them or not, because they're going to be driving over them all the time. The bumps are more evasive on your vehicle. The humps are much less evasive, but much more costly. So it's measuring cost benefit. And the intention is not necessarily to put them everywhere. We want to put them where they're going to have an impact and where they're going to be effective. If you plan on putting them everywhere, frankly, it's just going to be a waste of money, to be bold. You want to put them where they're going to be effective and useful for the city. And it's another thing that do the work for the police and supplement what we're doing. Slowing traffic down, changing driving behaviors, all these things, including the technology that I was talking about with the cameras and the LPRs. Those of things, technology play a huge role in this too. So it's a combination of things. And as we move forward, the selection of the streets will most likely be made by me. I want to pick areas that I know that are going to have an impact on long stretches of streets. So when we get to that point, we're still going to be discussing this along the way as we're putting this together. And is there anything else you want me to mention, Diana?
No, sir, that's enough. Thank you. Thank you. Mayor, thank you for indulging us
Sure.
for that.
Not a problem. And thank you again, Mayor Jones, for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. I like the fact that we can all work together for the betterment of North County.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move down to ratification of approval of invoices over 500, February 5th through 17th. Madam Attorney, no, Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
We do not. We have 4 board members on right now.
And so, Madam Attorney, that means that we cannot vote, right?
That is correct, Mayor.
All right then. So we can't do the ratification of approval of invoices over 500 due to the lack of a quorum. Please note that. And the next one would be discussion of interest signs, image and beautification.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Jenny Stewart. Carolyn McDonald was supposed to be on this call to asked about, have there been any discussion regarding the replacement of interest signs for the city of Bell Fountain? Because we had noticed that there are several signs, or most all of the signs have been tattered and torn, and some has even been removed. So I believe she got an email today from Alderman Thomas, who had been in contact with the parks, I believe the parks director. And there has been some discussion about replacing them. But if anybody else have an update on replacement of signs or repairing of entrance signs.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I did speak with Jeff from the street department, and he said that he and Jimmy from Parks have been talking about it, and it's in the budget for 21-22 to replace all the signs, to upgrade the poles, and there are several other things that they want to do with those signs, but it is on the table.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Also, I wanted to let the board know, the Alderman board know, that the Image and Beautification Board is hosting our annual cleanup litter pickup on April the 24th. That would be on a Saturday from 9 to 1 o'clock.
All right, that's good. April 20th.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
I'm sorry, April 24th.
April 4th?
April 24th.
24th, okay. All righty, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The approval of invoices over 500, we cannot vote on that because we do not have a quorum. And so the report of the mayor, very briefly, and several things I just want to just bring to your attention. The first one is the COVID-19. I got my second shot today, and I'm feeling fine. And I would encourage all of you who have not, for whatever reason, go online and see if you can't make an appointment. That is being available. I know Mayor Jones has got some things around that going on in his city. So I want to encourage you to get it when you get the opportunity. And you just completed talking about speeding and I'm sure stoplights and running stoplights and stop signs is an issue in our city. I get a lot of complaints about that. That is something that we're beginning to address. You just heard some of it a moment ago. But we also have to understand that when you solve one problem, you often create another. And so just be aware of that. And we're going to have to draft, we get a lot of complaints about cars parked in yards and that sort of thing. We're going to have to address that. I think an ordinance perhaps would be the way to go on that, is to create an ordinance ending that practice. Also, Riverview Garden School District has a proposition on the ballot, Prop E. That district serves our children, and so it serves the children who live in this school district. I would not allow someone to talk me out of passing that who does not live in the school district. And so this is for you and it's for our children. And I just believe that we ought to take care of what belongs to us. The district belongs to us. Let's take care of it. And then you heard in the treasurer's report that the city is doing well in terms of its finances. And I know when I became mayor, the talk was, oh, the city going to hell now, and all of that kind of stuff. But you check my record based upon prior administrations, and you'll see that this city is more protected financially now than it has been in a long time, perhaps. So don't fall for that. Whatever you saw last year, that took place in the prior administration. From this point on, you're going to see progress, and we're going to have the monies to fix a number of things that we hear our citizens complain about. But we can't do everything at one time. as Mayor Jones said, we got to target things each year. We got to target a project that we will do this year and something else the following year. But you can rest for sure and sleep well at night that Bell Fountain Neighbors is not going to hell in a handbasket. The city is doing well and will continue to do well. And everybody in it will be the better for it. I'm so grateful that since I've been mayor, I've had a number of people call me who had moved out of Bell Fountain Neighbors and they're moving back in. And so that's a good thing. Thank all of you. Thank our department heads for their report tonight. And at this time, we will have a report from the alderpersons.
Okay, Alderman Perry.
No reports at this time.
Okay, Alderwoman Tapman.
Part of the presentation was my report. Thank you. And Mayor, thank you for that extra time.
Okay, Alderman Thomas.
Yes, good evening. My report is short. I will not be in attendance at the town hall meeting if any of the citizens have any comments or concerns and they would like to reach myself or Alderman Perry concerning Ward 3. You can find our information on the website, or you can call City Hall and leave a message. That was my only comment. Thank you.
Okay, Alderwoman Dales.
I have a lot, so I'll make up for all of you guys.
Please don't.
First, I want to thank the mayor and the board for approving the funds for the barriers over in Ward 4. I have had nothing but thank you, job well done. We appreciate it. They look very nice. We appreciate what you're doing. I mean, even up to today, I did have one of our residents, and I understand because people are driving around their barriers. And he called me back. He said, you know what? I appreciate what you're doing. And it just fills your soul that the people in Ward 4 are so grateful for the barriers. And it is already making a difference. There's some things, and we may not have that many citizens on the meeting right now, but and some of those individuals may or may not be on next door. But a wise man told me that, what is it said? A quiet man make decisions and can't. Tell me what it says, man. Tell me what it says. Say it again so they can hear you. I want the citizens to hear you. Say it.
Powerless people make noise. Powerful people make decisions.
And that is so true. Before I got elected, I called Mayor Pearson, at that time was Rep Pearson, every day. And he guided me. And some of the things that is put out on this social media website is horrible. And we have leads who live in this city. If I made the comment that that was even made today, I will be taken off of next door and never be able to get back on. But even the lead who is on this meeting today says nothing. And it's unfair. Most of the information is untrue. And I would like anyone that is a citizen to share it with those that may not be on the meeting that's on next door. We're professionals. We can talk to each other by phone or by email. We don't have to put our business for this city out on social media to 33 other cities. And we are not trying to put our name out there for anything else. We are here to serve the people. We are grassroots elected officials who are public servants. And we show up to pay the city's bills. And that's our obligation. And it's disrespectful to speak about any alderperson on social media or anywhere. You can call that person up any day or send them an email if you have something to say. And I'm hoping that the citizens disregard some of the stuff that's on Nextdoor, because it's not true. I want to thank our police department, Chief Eiler. He has helped me tremendously with the barriers. I just want to give a shout out to the mayor, Dinah and James. They always help me. I'm going to let everybody know that when I get out of hand, they help me. Because I do get mad sometimes because I don't like anybody to hurt somebody. And it's not right to hurt other people. Only hurting people try to hurt other people. And I thank them all. I thank Melvin, Alderman Perry. He has really been supportive. He's learning his job. And we're all trying to work together. So I just want to thank you guys. Thank the citizens. We just pouring out. They are so thankful and grateful. And thank the mayor and my colleagues and all the citizens. And we're going to have our Black History celebration in June. And we're going to have a big party on June 19th, which is Juneteenth Day, on the outside of the rec center. And I want to thank our new director over the rec center. His name is Jimmy. He is outstanding. I want to thank the street department. They are out. They help me with everything. We work together as a team. And we are here to help the citizens. We do a lot of things behind the scene to help you. We're not going to put it on social media. And I want to thank everybody for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty. We will turn the meeting over to the public for 3 minutes each, please.
Yes, this is Kathy Mason at 1013 Darnell. I said I wasn't going to say anything tonight, but sometimes you guys make me talk. What I want to say is those, especially my alderman, Elise Daly, she's always got my back. I definitely appreciate all the work you've done on these barriers, and we'll get them together. It takes more than 2 days to do it. And I want to thank you other aldermen that have come to these meetings religiously and done the best you can with what you've got to work with. I really do appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gordon? Ms. Marcy?
I'm on mute. Sorry. Hello, everybody. Marcy Good, 9421 Dinky Drive. So just 3 things. So I know Joe mentioned Gateway Market. I'm hoping, we've had talks about that. I hope we're still on the path that there are no liquor license granted for that. And so I'm hoping that we have something in place to just keep an eye on that. And I know there will be myself and other citizens that will be keeping an eye on it to report it if we see any spirits or beer or whatever in the store, because it's not granted as we know of. Secondly, Mayor, you said something about an ordinance for those parking in the yards. Mm-hmm. Now, we do write nice letters to our residents to say, hey, you can't do that in our Ward 4. So there is an ordinance that we've used, ordinance code 1031, 1 through 3, which is A through C, section 17-118. So it talks about driving on yards and lawns. So we've kind of used that to help them say, hey, don't, and we send them a picture of their own car, asking them not to park on the grass. And then we send it to the property owner as well. So we're kind of doing that, but I just wanted to share that. There is such an ordinance already on the books, probably just need to be reviewed and modified.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, thank you. No, there will not be a liquor license issued to Gateway Market. They don't qualify for one. Anyone else? Well, listen, thank you all so much tonight. you know, I'm still going over my time I intended for this meeting to end by 9 o'clock. But we're not far away from that. And so since we don't have a voting quorum, I will announce this meeting adjourned. Amen. What else y'all want me to say? Meeting's over.
I was just gonna make the motion, but we can't vote on it, so.
Right. Good night, everyone. Stay
Good night,
safe.
everyone.
Stay safe.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, Mayor, I'm about to click off now.
Click off, my dear.
Okay.